Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us. I am Dondi from FloraCraft, and today we are making this fun citrus colored wreath for your door for the summertime. What we put this wreath on is our green extruded wreath. What's nice about this is it's pretty sturdy and it's safe for outdoors. It's going to hold up to your weather. It's going to hold up to the heat and the cold. So it's a great wreath for your door. It's also thin, so it won't stick out from your door real far. And also being thin, there's not as much to cover with the floral, so that'll save you a little bit of money too. All right, so we're going to get started. If we want to go to top down, I'm going to show you all. And oh, I'm sorry, this is our 14-inch wreath that we're using today. And also, I didn't mention that we do have Tony on chat today, so she will be able to answer your questions. If you have any, we'll get them answered for you. So some of the materials that I used on this wreath. And don't get caught up on finding these exact florals. I'm going to show you some options that you can use that'll work just as well. But here are, these are the products that I found at Michael's. Just this really fun mum in orange and in yellow. And I just have one of each of those. I found these little white daisies. 3 stems. They're not real big stems. They just have just a few pieces, 6 or 8 blossoms per stem. I found these purple, and again, the white, it doesn't have to be daisies. It can be little carnations. It can be little roses. It could be any number of flowers. I would go more by color, just by the colors that you like. Don't get caught up on the type of flower. I also found these little purple flowers and just 2 stems of them, and there's just 4 of them, so we won't be using a lot. And any purple flower will do. And then I found these kind of orangey, rusty flowers that I thought would add a nice contrast. I grabbed just 1 stem of those. And some bright yellow flowers. These happen to be Ranunculus, maybe. But again, any yellow flower will work in this. And there's probably 12 yellow blossoms. And then I did a large, kind of a peachy coral hydrangea. But again, this can be any color. You can do purple, you could do any color. Green will work. And then lemons, limes, and oranges I put in here. I don't have the right size oranges right now, but used 3 of those just to, and I just picked those in with the flowers just to add a little interest. But there's, I mean, you could use, if you couldn't find the fruit or you don't have the fruit, you could absolutely use maybe big colorful buttons, or maybe some little curly ribbon, little sprigs of curly ribbon. So there's options. You could just do wraps of the ribbon, just little curls of the ribbon instead of the fruits. There's lots of options that we can make this your own. So this is going to start a little different. I mean, normally I would start with the flowers, but because I wanted my my bows to lay flush in the wreath, so they're right in the wreath, they're not sticking out from the wreath, and I wanted them to feel like they lived in there, they had a place. So I'm actually going to start this wreath with the bows. I know that's a little odd, but it just worked out better for me. So we're gonna jump right into trying to make a bow. And I know that everybody makes bows a little bit differently, but I'm gonna show you my way. Tony, can you make that box go away? So the top bow up here, I'd say that the tails are probably about 6 inches. So you're just gonna start with a 6-inch tail. You're gonna loop to the back. So you have your tail in the front and the spool in the back. So you're gonna start with your first loop and you just pinch it together. And then I like to kick that tail right out of the way so it's not in your way. So you have your first loop. You're gonna bring your ribbon around to the center. Just make sure your loops are the same length. So that's all I've done so far. And then to make this pop a little bit and give it a little pucker, I like to twist it right there where your thumb is. And that just gives it a little life, gives it a little volume. And the second loop or the third loop, again, bring it to the center. Make sure it's about the same length. Give it a twist. There you go. And then back to the center. Give it a twist. And I actually did 6 loops on that top bow. We're going to do another one on this side. Bring it to the center. Give it a twist. And then when you twist it, just grab it again with your thumb so it's pinched in there. And your last loop. So you have 6. And we're going to snip that off. All right, and then over in the floral aisle, you will find stem wire. And it's just this really thin, it's 22 gauge coated wire. So what I do is I bring around the center and twist it, and I leave one tail real long on there. So one's kind of short and one's really long. And we're going to use this long piece, we're going to leave it right on there. And we'll use that to secure the other colors of ribbon inside this bow. So you don't have to keep cutting a piece and redoing it, rewiring. Just gonna wrap it around and use that same wire.
We have a couple bow questions, Dondi. Some people are struggling a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna go right into the yellow. So we'll be showing it all again right now.
Perfect. And what material is all of your ribbon?
Again, anything will work, anything you would find. I wouldn't go by material, I would go by color for this wreath. So, I mean, this happens to be a wired, it's probably about maybe an inch and a quarter, probably an inch and a quarter maybe, satin wired ribbon. Now this yellow, I think I used a different ribbon on that one, but this one that I found is just to acetate. So really the material doesn't work. I only went by what colors I wanted to use. So the next ribbon, I just made sure that it was just a little bit shorter tail so that you can see that orange peeking out from underneath. And again, we're just going to bring a loop. So you go back with the loop, you give a little pinch and push that tail out of the way. So you have your loop and your tail, and the tail is on the front. I'm gonna bring this back ribbon to the center. And this acetate's a little stiffer, so it is a little different to use, but that's kind of why I wanted to, because it's a little bit slippery. But I just wanted to use some different types so that you guys can see that you don't have to use exactly what I have here. You can make it your own with whatever you have. So there's your second loop. Make a twist and grab it. And the other one. make a twist. And then that looks, excuse me, that last one. Right, and then remember I said we're going to use this wire, so just bring it down between, so you're bringing it right back up to the front of your bow from the back, and then you'll lay this next color in and bring that wire right around to the back and secure it again by twisting to this little existing piece back here. And that adds your second color. And you don't have to use all these colors. You could do a solid color bow. Just make it your own, have fun. If you have some fun printed ribbons or anything would work. So there's that one. And what other colors do we have? Look at that. We have this check. And again, you're just going to make a tail a little bit shorter than the yellow. And then as you go into the center of the bow, you want to make the loops a little bit shorter each time so that all the colors are kind of showing from the front. So this one will make the loops even a little bit smaller. So about there. And again, you got your loop, your tail, and then you're just going to start bringing these loops into the center and giving them a twist. And the best thing about it is the class is recorded, right? So you can watch these bows be made over and over again. Another loop, another twist. All right, and there's your next color. And we'll lay that one in the center. Bring that longest wire back around. Pinch it real tight. And give a twist. So there you have your three colors. And I don't know how I fit all these colors in here, but there's a couple more. So here's a purple. And these can be any color, guys. Any color you want them. Make it your own. I just tried to highlight all the colors of flowers that I used is what made me pick the ribbons. So you want your ribbons to be solid colored. That's good too. I like solid colored. So a loop and a twist. And a loop and a twist. And I think I'm only going to do 4 instead of 6, just because you guys get it, right? All right, again, you lay it in the center. Pinch it with your thumb. Bring that long wire back around to the front. And twist it with that short wire in the back. All right. And then I even added, excuse me, a little bit of green at the very center. Okay. So another short tail. This is kind of tricky because it's so skinny and you almost really don't need to twist this because it is so skinny, it's hard to hold on to. So I just go ahead and make loops out of this, just back and forth. crisscross them in the middle. Kind of like that. And same thing, we're gonna lay this in the center. Getting a little thick now. And pull your tail or your wire through the center. Pinch it. And give it a twist in the back. Then you can go through and kind of fluff it. Make it look a little nicer. You can do the little dovetail tails on there if you'd like. So I fold them in half, cut it from the corners and make that cute little dovetail.
Like the showing them a new way to make bows in the variants with the shorter and thicker ribbons.
Nice, great. Yeah, and a nice thing about having big fun bows in your wreaths is because you save a little money on florals. 'Cause florals are definitely expensive. And you can get a lot of bows out of a spool of ribbon. So adding in some bows gives you a little interest and saves you a little cash. All right, there's one. Now this one on the other side, I did kind of the same, but I just did 4 loops instead of 6 on everything. So it's basically the same. I did a little bit shorter tails on that one because I didn't want them to stick out too far. Let me show you. So on this one up here, I did 6 loops on all the ribbons, and I made the tails a little longer because I wanted them to hang in the center of the wreath. But this guy on this side is just 4 loops on the bows, and the tails are a little shorter so that they don't stick out too far from the edge of the wreath. And that's why I did it. All right, and then this smaller bow, so same thing. Start with however long you want your tail. You loop to the back. Get crowded. So you loop to the back, pinch it, kick your tail over. And this is a good time to adjust the length of your loops if you need to. And back to the center. Give a twist. Add your loop. Give a twist. And there's 4.
Danny, what's your experience with burlap ribbon? If they were to choose burlap, would it fray or do you think it would hold up?
No, I think it would hold up. I don't know any tricks to keep it from fraying, but I know what you mean. I know that I have seen people like at the very tail of your burlap, they'll run like some clear glue along the back edge, and it kind of holds all those little fibers together. And you don't really see it because it's clear glue. It might make it a little bit, I guess, stiff, but burlap's kind of stiff anyway, right? But I think it would hold up fine. Burlap would be cute with this wreath. Have colored burlap too, that would be real pretty. Fun colors. So same thing, you're gonna make a short tail and a long tail with your wire. You're gonna leave it right on there. And we're gonna add our other colors. There's our slippery acetate. This stuff's a lot different than the wired. So again, you make your tail a little bit shorter than the orange and bring it to the back. A little pinch. This is so slippery. You'll see if you use it. But you can use it. All right, and we're just doing 4. We'll cut that off there. And lay it in the center. Bring your long one into the back. Pinch it all together. Okay, there's your orange and yellow, and then need my check again. And you'll make this tail a tiny bit. Oh. Make this tail a little bit shorter than the yellow. And your loop a little bit smaller than the yellow. You have your tail. Start making your loops. Give your twist. Just kind of puts a little pleat in the ribbon, and I think it just makes the bow pop a little better. Right, and right in the center. Bring your long wire around. Secure it in. All right, let's put some purple in there. Tail a little shorter. Start making your loops a little shorter than the black. Little twist. Where's everybody calling from today, Tony?
We have lots of people. We have Oklahoma, who's crafting later. Jesse from Detroit, who's crafting along with you.
Oh, nice.
Long Island, New York. San Jose, California, crafting later. California near Disneyland, crafting along with you. I want to go to
Nice.
Disneyland.
Me too.
Idaho, crafting later. We have a high from Southern California, North Carolina.
Right.
Georgia.
Well, welcome, everyone. Oh, there's my green.
Maryland, Philadelphia, North Glen, Colorado, Missouri.
Geez, we almost hit them
Everywhere.
all, didn't we? Nice. I was waiting for you to say Spain. We have a gal from Spain that always joins. How about our gal from Ludington? No, I shouldn't have said that because I don't remember her name. She just moved here. She was here for one of our very first classes. She chiming in yet?
Nope, not yet. We have a first time Michael's past attendee and loving it.
Good, 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 good. All right, so there's our second bow. It's just like I said, it's just a little bit smaller than the first one with 4 loops and shorter tails. Now I'm gonna put the little dovetails on here just because I really like it that way. But you don't have to. You can do it at an angle. You can leave them square. Up to you. And then just be sure when you cut off that wire from the back, don't use your good scissors. Make sure you use a pair of wire cutters. It's a thin ribbon, but I don't think it's thin enough to cut with my scissors or thin wire. There we go. And then you can take this time to give it a little tug here and there and get it the way you want it. Or, okay. So these are the diagonal cutters. They're just wire cutters that I found them at Michael's. So that's what I would use to snip off this excess. And if you don't want to snip it off, if maybe you wanna reuse these bows at another time, you could always just make a loop with that rest of that wire that's left. Just make a little loop, and you could even use these greening pins from Michael's. They're just a U-shaped pin. And you could use that through this wire to secure it to the wreath. And that way, if you want to reuse the bow or if you want to do something else, you could easily remove the bow and not have it glued in place on your wreath. So that's just an option for you. All right. That's for this. Yeah, I'll do it.
We have people that are concerned about their bow creating, and we want you to know that even everyone at FloraCraft has bow envy of Dondi. You're not the only one.
Okay, guys,
We feel the same way.
I'm not really that good. I've just done it for a really long time. I've been doing this for 24 years. So believe me, I didn't think I would ever be able to make a bow either. So I'm with you. I get it. All right. So for these bows, like I said, I want them to feel like they lived in the wreath. I didn't want to feel like they sat on top of the wreath. So I went ahead and added them first. And this too, then you know how much flowers you need and what you need to fill in, because this is taking up the space that flowers would normally go. And hey, if you have a lot of flowers and you don't want to put bows in your wreath, then absolutely add more flowers. So these bows are going to get stuck at about, let's say 10 o'clock, and it's at about 4 o'clock. That sounds right. And so the bigger bow at the top, I have the tails just kind of coming down inside the wreath. And then this little bow on the side, I kind of have poking out from the wreath. I'm going to shorten these up a little to adjust them a little. All right, and then from there, If you wanted to glue these bows in instead of pin them like I just did, I did find this little gun at Michael's. It's a low temp glue gun, and you're going to want to use a low temp glue gun with our foam because a lot of the hot glue guns get so hot that it can actually melt the foam. So you just want to make sure that you have a low temp gun. All right, and then I started with my largest blossoms. So whatever those blossoms may be that you have, pick your largest two, and that's what we're going to use first. And you're going to cut these off at about, well, you don't want to cut them you don't want to cut the stem any longer than the wreath is deep. So I'm going to go probably about an inch, inch and a quarter. Like so. And then when I made this one, I didn't want everybody, I'm talking about the flowers, I guess you guys know. I didn't want every flower to face exactly out from the wreath. I wanted to give it a little interest. So when I set this first one down here by this bottom bow, I just set it so that it's kind of inside the wreath. So you want to poke it in at that inside edge. And so it's kind of tilting in and towards the other bow. And these can also be glued in. I'm not just for time, I'm not going to glue anything in. But if you're going to have this on a door or anywhere where it's going to get moved around, you're probably going to want to glue all this stuff in. And two, you can go ahead and put it in where you want it so that you make sure that it's in the right spot, and then just pull it out, add glue to the stem, and then insert it back in that same hole. And that'll just make sure that, actually gonna move this one over. That'll just make sure that it's held in there nice for you. And the beauty of our foam wreath is that you don't have to actually pick everything or pin everything in. You can push it right into the foam itself. And then for the orange, large orange flower, I think I have these a little too close. And see, that holds in there really nice. That foam holds it. All right. So then this guy I had facing out. So I'm going to put him right on the front of the wreath and face it straight out from the wreath. So there, that one's kind of facing in and this one's facing right out at you. All right. So then I just started building from there and filling in between these two bare places. So I do want to show you too, if you don't have, you are finding trouble, like these are such bright, brilliant colors, and you might have trouble finding a big blossom that is that exact color that you want. So I just wanted to show you some other flowers that I found that were not the right color. So they were this white and this beigey white. So I just went and got some Design Master spray paint and sprayed it on here and made the color flower that I want. So it would fit real nice in here with just a little spray paint. And what's nice about Design Master is it doesn't really get like crunchy or cracked. It still feels pretty soft and pliable. It doesn't make it stiff and stick together. It's just a really nice paint. So that's an option for you. Go ahead and grab some Design Master spray paints, and they're so many fun colors for flowers that you won't have a problem finding the color that you need. So this is another one I had. It was a light pink flower, and I just took the Design Master and made it the color that I wanted. And once it's all painted, you really can't tell that it's not bought that way. So that's just an easy way to get the colors that you want if you can't find them. And another thing you can do, Michael's a lot. Now these bushes here aren't exactly from Michael's, but I wanted to just show you that a lot of times Michael's will have these mixed bushes that have all this fun stuff on there. So you could take like a pinks and peaches and add it with a purples and do this wreath with just 2 bushes instead of worrying about picking out all the separate colors. Just find some fun summer bushes that work together and use them and use all the components from them to do the wreath.
If you leave the leaves,
Excuse me?
do you leave the leaves on the bushes?
Actually, I'm pulling just the blossoms, but I am gonna ask you to keep all your greens. So we're only gonna use like the purple flowers, just 1.5 inches of the stem, but absolutely keep all the leaves because you can use them to camouflage around the outside edge of your wreath. Because a lot of times when it's on the door, you'll see the edge. You don't have it, a lot covered all the way. So to cover that, you can definitely just pull the leaves right from your stems and just lay them that way around the edge of the wreath, pin them on or glue them on, and that'll camouflage that whole edge of the wreath for you.
Any tricks for keeping the flowers from fading from the sun?
They do have, and I did see it at Michael's, though I saw it online. It's called a UV protectant spray. So yes, there is a spray, and I would imagine you could use that right on the whole wreath, the ribbons and everything. I think it would be fine. All right. Now I'm going to show you some different ways to attach. If you're attaching lemons, limes, or oranges, just some different ways to secure them to your wreath. So one way is if you already have floral pins at home, you could just literally straighten out these floral pins and just insert part into your lemon and then right into your wreath. Or I found these little picks at Michael's. They're just little mini craft sticks, they're called, and they're tapered at one end. So I picked those up because I thought if you had these little picks, if you found those at Michael's, or bamboo skewers, even toothpicks might work, but toothpicks you might want to use like 2 or 3 together so they're a little stronger. But that's with the pick. And then also at Michael's, if you might already have this heavy gauge wire, and this happens to be 16 gauge, so it's pretty thick, pretty substantial. So you would just use your wire cutters and cut a little, maybe 2 inches or so off, and use that to insert into your fruit. And put that in there. So there's 3 ways you can attach it. That's pretty easy and stuff you might already have on hand. Some other ideas I had, if you didn't want to use fruit, you could get like some fun curly ribbon. You could secure that in, and that would be a fun option instead of fruit. It'd still give you the color and a little interest, even a little movement. If it was windy or whatever, I like to have a little movement. So that's another option if you don't have citrus or can't find the mini fruits. The other thing I thought of was maybe even like big fun colored buttons. Wire them and add them to the wreath. That would be a fun option for color if you didn't want to use citrus. All right. So then I just start building. So maybe we have a little purple peeking out back here. And maybe we have some orange peeking over here. And it's mostly by color. We're just trying to bring the colors throughout the wreath. Maybe a little white right there. So another thing you could do instead of fruit, or along with fruit even, is you can make just a little roll of ribbon and take your floral pin, poke it through the ribbon. Well, a little easier said than done. There we go. So just bring the pin through the ribbon like that, and then you could just use that as a little ribbon piece instead of fruit. And this is another kind of a money saver. You already have the ribbon, and this takes up the space that flowers or fruit would. So you would just add those like you would add an orange or a lemon. I'm not going to do that. All right, let's try a few lines down here. Get a little green down at this part of the wreath. Oops. Oh, and if you poke it through, just poke that. Just use this end and just poke that foam right back in there, and you don't hardly see it. See, gone. All right. And if you're afraid that you're going to poke it all the way through, you could always trim off a little bit of that so you don't do that again. And I'm not pushing these lemons and limes down all the way to the surface of the wreath. I'm kind of keeping them up where the flowers and the bows are, about level. Do one of these. So these I just take bend it open, one part in the lime and one part in the wreath. Do that. Maybe we'll add some yellow down here by these guys. All right, guys, so I ended up with a smaller size oranges than are on the original wreath. So if yours are a little bigger than this, that's only because you have the correct ones that are from Michael's. The oranges from Michael's are quite a bit bigger. But this is going to show you that not everything has to be exactly like the wreath in the picture. We can substitute. Where's everybody thinking about putting this wreath? Is this going to be outside on the front door or a inside the sun porch, or where are we going to display these? Anybody going to share that with us?
We have a couple front doors.
Okay. Oh yeah, these will look beautiful on a front door. They will be seen from the street for sure with these colors.
In their garden.
Oh, fun. That's a good idea. So I just popped around some fruit, starting to fill in with some flowers. Again, all we're doing is just spreading these colors around. We want to have a little bit of white everywhere. We want to have a little bit of orange everywhere. So all we're doing is just playing with color. No rhyme or reason. Don't have to have flowers in a certain spot or a certain amount. Just playing with color. Don't worry about style of the flower. Don't worry about any of that. Just playing with color. And even these little guys, kind of sticking out here and there, just little bits of color. Remember, save all these greens because we're going to use them to clean up that, camouflage that edge. Oh, try some purple. As you can see, I'm just grabbing a color. Just grab a color and say, well, I have a little purple over there, and we have purple in our bows, so we'll add a little purple around here and there. Maybe over here. Sure, just wherever. Add another yellow. Let's see. Maybe over here. You see how it's all coming together? All these colors are kind of popping out here and there. You need a little more white down here. There you go. A little more white down there. Just spread that color around. We don't have any of this here. And maybe here, right next to the bowl. Bring in a little more white. And then you don't have to cluster. I know I have 3s of everything. You don't have to. You could do just like one line peeking from back here. If you need that color back there, then put him back there. Mhm. Oh, maybe you want a little of this green. And over here by this bow, just pop it in. Maybe a line down here by this one. Just wherever it fits and wherever you need that color. No rules on this wreath. No rules. My son would love that. Filling in, guys. How's everybody coming out there? There goes my orange.
Michael's got a YouTube channel, so you can actually go on there and type in FloraCraft and see more projects with Dondi that she's done in the past. If you want to check out some more of our stuff with foam.
Oh, and then the last thing that I did, guys, is I just took this hydrangea and I just trimmed all the little individual blossoms off. And I use them to just fill in around the whole wreath. So you just use a little glue and just glue it in here and there. Everywhere where you need a little more color or you need to fill in. If you see the wreath form itself from underneath, just take these and just poke them in. You can stick them in between the fruits. And again, this can be any color at all. And just pop them in. And you're going to want to glue them in with the low temp glue gun. But just continue filling in and adding these little pops of color. And then, like I said, all these spare leaves that you have left over from all your stems, just take your floral pin or glue. You're just going to lay that leaf there and pin it on. And all that's going to do is just camouflage the edge of that wreath for you so that it looks nice from all sides. So just keep layering and pinning. Until you get the whole wreath covered on the edge. So that makes it look nice from the side of your door. All right. I'm going to lay down this original that you saw online so you can get a final view of what it looks like. And then do we have time to show off our next class? 3 minutes? All right. Where is my... So want to go to front view for me? And I'll show you. So this is, what is this? June 29th. We're going to do this fun 4th of July wreath, and I'm going to show you how to cut these stars out of foam, make them the size that you want and the color that you want, how to glitter them real easy. So this is going to be a real fun project for June 29th. And then for July 7th, we have this fun summer transitional wreath. So I'll show you how to take this fun summery wreath and transition it into fall very easily. All right. There's no questions. I guess we're all set. No questions? All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. So glad you could make it. Bye-bye.